We'll move to our closing statements. Mr. Bishop, you will go first.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to just say that my wife Christina and I have lived in this district I have my entire life. We're raising our 3 kids here. It's the same place where I was raised with my 4 sisters. It's a place where I started my businesses. It's where I went to school. And it's really a place that I've grown to love. And I'm really honored to have the opportunity to represent you in the United States Congress. In Congress, I served in the House Ways and Means Committee. It's the same committee that helped deliver once-in-a-generation tax reform that's providing tax relief to millions of hardworking families. It's creating more jobs. It's fairer taxes, simpler tax returns, and bigger paychecks. I'm also part of the work I've done in Congress to help pass legislation to protect our children, keep the Great Lakes clean, and invest in our infrastructure, but also, I think, as of late, especially, to combat the opioid crisis. This is an issue that's very important to me. We've also protected seniors and veterans, and we've done so much to get government out of the way to help our economy grow and to allow people to invest in their own businesses and to keep more of what they earn. I believe that we've got to work together. We've been doing that on the Problem Solvers Committee, and we've had a chance to reach across the aisle and come together for bipartisan solutions. And I think that's what our families, our job creators, and our communities want to see from their Congress, to solve problems working together. And having the opportunity, I will do that. I want you to know that I've been doing that and I will continue to do this.
All right, thank you.
No, we're not finished.
Oh, I apologize.
No, I wasn't, yeah.
You had a downward inflection, and I thought you were...
I just want to say one more thing, John. I do this job because I was brought up in a family that believes in faith, family, and country. I love my country. I do this job because I love my country. In my opinion, there are two different kinds of people in Congress. You either love your country and you're there for that reason, or you have lust for power. And there's too much of that going on in this country. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. Mr. Ellison, your closing statement.
So back in October, I decided that I was going to make a run, and I started a run for Senate. And it was fun. We were running for Senate, and we were going to go up against Debbie Stabenow and whoever the Republicans put up. And, you know, as being a libertarian and having major party status or primary party status this year, it became quite a challenge. We obviously don't have the infrastructure that the other major parties have. And so trying to get on the ballot for Senate was really a big challenge. And so come spring, we looked at our options, and we looked at this race specifically in this area. And you have 2 candidates on the stage that are you know, it may be generous to say they're 2 different sides of the same coin. They may be the same side of the same coin. But what you have is the illusion of a difference between the 2. You have, you know, one that is a career politician, and the other that's been a government insider her entire career. And so I think really, ultimately, what I wanted to do was to give the voters an actual choice. Let's stop pretending that we have a choice. We know we don't. We know that the Republicans chose who they put on the ballot, and you went through the primary process, and you had the illusion of choice then, and who everybody expected to win won, and the same thing with the Democrats. And so you have 2 candidates up here that were chosen by the elite few that lead their parties, and they're working for special interests based on the donations that they get. They don't represent you, and they can't represent you, and they won't represent you. And so I wanted to be that option. So I guess what I would ask you guys is really to think about when you go to the polls, if you're happy with what government's doing for you, and you're happy with the direction the country's going in, and you want to see our debt increase, and you want to pass that burden on to our children and our grandchildren and our children's grandchildren, then vote for either big government might or deep state Slotkin.
Okay, thank you very much. And we will finish final statement from Ms. Slotkin.
Sure. Listen, I grew up here in Oakland County. We have a family farm just down the street in Holly. After 9/11, I happened to be in New York City on 9/11 when the towers came down, and I knew by the end of the day that national service was what I was going to do for my life. Within a year, I was recruited by the CIA, and a year after that, I was on my first of 3 tours in Iraq. I married a career Army officer retired as a colonel, as an Apache pilot, and I have 2 stepdaughters both in service. But it was the values that I learned here in Michigan, playing softball or riding 4-wheelers or working at Kirby's Coney Island, that taught me the lessons of integrity, of decency, and of service. And I'm extremely, extremely proud of that. I think that this election is really about a very, very clear choice. It is about someone who understands public service, who believes in their country over party, and who believes actually our system works best when people of integrity in both parties work together, right? We need that. Versus a career politician who cares more about his corporate special interest donors than he does about Michigan voters. I ran because I believe the tenor and tone of politics in Washington right now is fundamentally unbecoming of the country that I served and the country that we all love. I believe that we need a different generation of leaders who thinks differently and works harder and never forgets that they are public servants. They are accountable to people. That is what we need. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the chance to earn your vote. I thank you to the organizers, and I thanks for everyone for coming out.
Okay, thank you.